Hey everybody, it's David R. Becker again, here on a Thursday night, painting along with you, right? Alright, so here we go. Tonight we're going to be doing a scene that I wanted to kind of do last week because I want to do backgrounds that are soft-edged. So this week that's what we're doing. We're going to try to do some soft-edged, lost edges, basically is what I kind of like to call it, out-of-focus edges. And so that means soft, wet into wet. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. We'll start out first, though, of course, always cheering each other on. And so today the beer is a frosted sugar cookie. Where the heck are you? A frosted sugar cookie by Southern Tier. I think this brewery is out of Colorado. I think. I forgot to look. I don't have my glasses on, but just give this a pour and give it a try. We're still going with the holiday sugar cookie thing, so we'll see how that tastes. So cheers, everybody. Cheers to a happy new year. Happy new year. So let's see what this is. Wow, that's sweet. That is so like you're drinking sugar. Okay, that tastes just like a sugar cookie. Oh wow, that is really weird. Let me try it one more time. That is that's like pop. So that tastes like pop, but it's basically sugar. So that's about an 8. I'm not really keen on that part. All right, so hey guys, welcome. Hey Maura, hey Tina, hey Joyce, Sue, Lynn. Who else we got here? Maureen, Tom, Paula, Tabassum. Hey, thanks guys. Thanks for stopping by. So I already did this one, and I'm in class today, and we had quite a few people in class today. I was surprised after the holidays. And so what we did was this. So let's see where are we here. So I really realized that I really do not like green. So let me maybe just put you down here to the tabletop real quickly, just really quick. So really the greens I used, I don't like these greens at all, and I like how I did the background soft edged, and I like some of the purples and stuff, but the green just does not match to this. I just didn't feel like it's exactly what I wanted. And so we're gonna first off, let me go back a second here. Let me go back to here and tell my website for all you newcomers coming in, and I know newcomers. So here's my website, and again, go down here to get your stuff. All right, and so today our supplies. I did use some mascoid today, so I did use some mascoid, and I didn't use transfer paper, but those are the brushes, those are the colors, and let me go to the value study because I really want to talk about this. So what I did was this painting right here, was this image. And so what I didn't like about the green was that the green I used was just too bright for one thing, and then it was just not a natural green. It was just I mixed a green that was not natural. And so I want to do more of a dark green, but more of the bluish green, and then also a really bright yellow green, like a leaf green, so that the background, it'll be basically yellows and violet will be my complements. So the green is not going to be so much green as it will be yellow. So I'm going to figure it as yellow and violet as complements. So we're going to go from there. And also, if you look here, I put it on this, where are we here? So right here, in this image right here, I put a filter on it. Actually, this is in Photoshop. I put a watercolor filter on this, on the black and white, to show you how the background, I just want to be soft edges up here. And even these images right here could be soft edge. You don't need to make it hard edge, but it looks okay. But I want to make this whole background all the way through here and behind these plants, I want to make all soft edged. And so I'm not going to wet it really a lot. I'm just going to wet it as I go along, and so that I can get a few maybe these hard edges, which I didn't get in this afternoon. I just made it all soft edged. But we'll see how it goes. So let's go for our tabletop and get started here. Again, here's what we did. And see how I had the background. The backgrounds, I did like a nice soft edges and stuff. I kind of like the look, though, of this right over here. See this image right there? I do like the little light blistering through there. I'm not sure blistering is the right word, but it kind of goes through that area. And so what we're going to do is just kind of make that light and the background light, and then just have this soft edged and have this soft edged and going right through here, which is all soft edge in this. But then I'm going to make it darker. Some of these darker. These darks, the dark greens, not so green. I mean, these greens are like, ugh, they just didn't do it for me. A lot of students said they liked it and thought it was okay, but I just am not a fan of green. What can I say? I'm just not a fan of total green. So I like the yellow, but this ended up being too bright, because what happens is all this is light. And another thing I want to show you is that I am going to put people in here. I'm going to put a couple in there, just going down a stroll down this path into the water. So they stroll their way right into the, well, there's a tree blocking them, so they can't go any farther. So this is a path, or we call it a boardwalk, or a river pier, whatever it is. You make up the story, you know, and do whatever you like. And so this is the first painting of the new year, so let's see if we can do it better than this afternoon. And so that's what we did this afternoon. Let's see if we can make it better. Okay, you like what you see there? Yeah, we're gonna make it better. We're gonna make it better. It probably is Cambodia. Maybe it is Cambodia because it was a jungle. I looked up jungle, and I got a couple things that in the next couple of weeks I'm gonna be down in Florida. I'm leaving tomorrow for Florida, and I'm driving down to Florida, and so I'm not gonna have a lot of time. So I picked up a couple other things that we're gonna be doing. We're still gonna have the Thursday nights. I'm still gonna try that, but it's gonna be out of my hotel room, and so not here. But we'll see how it all works. And so I'll be gone for like 2.5 weeks or so, doing tons of workshops and demos. I'm doing like 8 demonstrations down in Florida. You look at my website, you find everything there. Or my newsletter, you get my newsletter, there's all the information. All right, so let's get started here. So I did use Mascoid. I use this Mascoid. This is the Holbein masking fluid. And I put it on a couple of spots here on the top of the tree, just because I want that to bling. I want that to be like I could have put white there, but I'm just gonna try, use a little bit of masking fluid. Get this out of the way for now. And so let's just go right to it. And instead of wetting everything, and so I can get some of this hard edged but light, I'm just gonna spray it with the sprayer, with the mister. I'm gonna take the mister, and I just ordered a bunch of these for the classes. I bring all the supplies to my Florida workshops. I bring all the supplies, so I brought a bunch of these misters. Don't you think getting out of the comfort zone is good for an artist? Yes, I think it's very good to get out of the comfort zone. And actually, it's a new year, and I told everybody, and I said, don't make a resolution this year. We've been through so many of these last 2 years with COVID and everything. Don't make a resolution. Just have fun this year. Just don't put pressure on yourself, and just have some fun. Paint a lot, and just, you don't need a resolution this year. I'm not doing a resolution this year. I'm just gonna have fun. Just, it's the start of a new year. Let's just not put pressure on ourselves. Okay, Paula just tried to do the painting today, similar to this subject with the figure in it. I post it later. My figure needs some work. All right, let's see. At my BeckerArt.net or BeckerArt group on Facebook. All right, so here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it. I'm just going to take a little fast spray. Just going to wet it a little bit so I can get the top of the edge soft. And then I'm just going to take, color should I make it? Okay, let's make it a little bit of lavender and pink. I'm gonna make it red, and pink is a red. It's just a so let's see if I can make these background trees. And oh boy, is that gray? Look at what I just did. Oh my gosh, that's a little too ugly, that color. So let's go with a little bit of yellow and orange and yellow and pink. I want to make it kind of like this is a purple. See what I did here? I did like kind of purpley red, whatever you want. It's up to you. And I do want a soft edge up here, so I'm gonna wet it again, just a little bit beyond that. Use enough pigment. So that's kind of a ugly orange, but we're gonna go with it. Spray a little more. Okay, spray. The mister is pretty cool, I must say. You don't need as much pigment when you use a mister like that. And so let's go in here. Boy, I gotta get my other palette. This one is really dirty. So here we go with a little bit of pink in there. I'm gonna blend it right into these trees. Now this is trees that are a little bit farther forward, but they kind of blend into this area. Get a little bit darker as you go along. I'm leaving the sky white. I'm not gonna put it, if you wanna put a color in there, that's fine, but it's the lightest light of the painting. And so our value study, as you see right here, the value study is that the sky in the background is light, and the pier and this mist right here, which I didn't get in this afternoon. I didn't put the mist in. And I'm going to try to get the soft edge, because it's all about soft edges today, remember? It's all about getting those soft edges. I really want you to learn how to get soft edges and lose your edges. You don't need to always have all the edges hard. It's the harder thing to do, but it's the better thing to do. It's the fun thing to do, to make everything soft edged. resolutions. 2022 is the year of fun. There you go. I say right now, no resolutions this year for 2022. Just have fun. Just don't put yourself under such much pressure to do things, get something done. Always the resolutions of losing more weight. Don't worry about that. Just have fun. My gosh, we've been through so many things these last couple of years. I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to do a resolution. What the heck? So here we go. A little bit of pink. Just paint. You come here on Thursday night and paint and have fun. You know, learn a little bit of something. Drink a new beer. This is a really weird beer, I must say. Sugar cookie. Sugar cookie. Frosted sugar cookie. It actually tastes like a sugar cookie. Very, very sweet. Almost too sweet for me. It's whoa. All right, we're going to come down here. And you notice I'm going to make the background warm. And as I come forward, I'm going to make it cool. Which is kind of a weird thing to do a lot of times because you usually have the background cool and the foreground warm, right? Because warms come forward, cools go background. But you can switch it up. There's nobody saying that you can't switch it up and make the background the warm parts. And I'll make this light through here. And I'm going to make this right away soft edge. I want to get this all done. That's the background. I want to get it done. I don't want to come back into that afterwards at all. And so I'm going to go right up into here. And I bring an orange up through here. Making this the background warm again. Remember I said the background's going to be warm. And this is the lights. This is the light area. This is not the dark area. You always got to remember the lights come first, and the lights are you're coloring the scene. You're coloring the scene when you're doing your lights. You're picking your color scheme. And when I get up front here, now I did do a lot of orange in here. It's not so much pink as it is orange, but that's okay. I'll still go with a yellow. Yellow. I'm gonna then put a yellow transfer into a yellow in the foreground here, because yellow and purple will be complements. I'm gonna use a lot of purple on this. You know me and my purple. Hey, did you know that purple this year is the color of the year? I think it's periwinkle or something like that. Or it's a weird word, but yeah, the color of the year this year is purple. So isn't that awesome? That's super, super awesome. So we're going to go right down to a yellow, yellowy orange, because this yellow is going to be turning to green or to a kind of yellow green. It's not going to be so much green. It's so funny when I got done with that painting. I just looked at it and I told everybody in class, like, you know what? I really, really don't like green. It just didn't do it for me. You know, it just doesn't have that beautiful, like, look at this scene right here. Look at the values and stuff right there. I made it too light, and also, so this is gonna be a lot darker. This is the underpainting. This is the colors underneath, and I have to make this a little bit darker right here because I want this to be soft edged, like the background. I want this to be like lost edge right here. I want it to be almost like it's steaming right here, like there's a cloud of what do you call it? Yeah, a cloud, a cloud of mist. Cloud of mist. And actually, why don't we use the misters to make it misty? There we go. We're just going to make that the color of the water back there. And this will all be darker. This, again, I'm just trying to create the mist that's going to be down here. Oh, I don't want to get rid of the white. Just want to... And I'm going to go through them because their legs are going to be dark against the light water. And because this is light, 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 and goes through. Just always remember where your lights and darks are, what they are going to be. And since I'm painting my lights, I don't have to worry so much about the darks right now. So I'm just trying to capture the colors I want to get throughout. And already, I'm enjoying these colors much, much more than this other one. And let's do the pier a little bit here. And make the pier a little bit of a warm color. Actually, I said it was going to be cool, didn't I? Oh, yes, I did say that was going to be cool. But I'm going to take that orange through the middle of the lights. I'm just going to do that. So it's not so much about background, foreground, but just top and bottom. Sometimes you can do that too. You don't have to always make the background and foreground. We have enough things making it look like it's overlapping. That'll be enough to make it look like dimensional. Any questions here? Julius Caesar wore purple? All right. Go ahead. Way cool, because purple is my favorite color as well. Yep, that's how everybody knows in my class that purple is the color, the go-to color, my favorite color. Purple, and then my second favorite color is orange, that I'm using right now. That's my second favorite. So there's nothing better than orange and purple. And when they're together, that's even better. So here we're going to put a little bit of dark through here to maybe again get that mistiness going through here through the middle. There's some mist, which I didn't pick up in the first one. See, I don't have the mist going through there. That's just hard edged. You know, I just lost a lot of things in this one. And again, you know, a lot of times when you do a painting the first time, you know, you do things like that. All right, so now that we've got this pretty much covered on what we're going to do for the values, and these are my light values, I'll get a few more darks down here so that they don't get a hard edge. I'll just bring this. This is basically going to be dark. I'm gonna make that really nice and dark later. And I think it'll be kind of like a grayish green. So let me just see if I can just put a little bit of something. And by putting a color that's not so vibrant down here, it's a good thing, because what happens is that when you put a color that's gray against a color that's vibrant and a very bright color, it'll pop out even better. It'll pop out so much nicer. So I'm going to put a little darks in down here. It's kind of a grayish green. More of a natural green. I mean, the greens I used before were like out of a coloring book or something. I just, you know, it's funny, guys. I just went in and I said, you know what? I just don't like green. And they looked at me. It's like, we know that. But this one, I was like, oh man, look at that. All right, anyways, so let's go up here now, and we're gonna get up here, and we're gonna do the second, it's gonna be a second wash that's over this. Now we're gonna go from a light to a dark, and I'm gonna spray it first, because I do wanna have some of this to be soft edged. So I mist it up a little bit, not too much, because that puts a nice mist on it. It doesn't make it really wet, and so it'll still give you a soft edge, but it don't have to worry that it's gonna be running all over the place. I'm going to make this a little bit more purple. Let's see, get some purple in here. Maybe a little bit darker, some purple. See how I still get a soft edge by just putting a little mist on there? And it kind of blends into this area over here. It's still floating. I mean, it's still floating, but I don't have to use much pigment because it's not so wet. If it's really wet without the mister, if I just put a brush over that, it gets really wet, and then I have to really put a lot of pigment in there. Here I don't have to put much pigment because there's not as much water, and it's still floating. The pigment is still floating up there. And so these background trees, then I'm going to go with a smaller brush to get the trunks of the tree. And I make the trunks of the tree the same color as the leaves and stuff, because it's in the distance, and you can't differentiate the difference of color. Even though, like in a photograph, it may look, you know, there's the green leaves, there's this, but this makes it all come together as one area, and it'll make it look like the background. So if I start putting a really bright green back here, it just defeats the purpose of making that push back. And now these little stems, I did do 3 trunks here that are going to be more important than the other ones. So these I'm just going to kind of play by ear. I'm just going to kind of go in here and just put some branches in here. Not so worried about these exact ones here. They kind of come down, and then there's a couple here that I'm going to make really important. I actually penciled them up. I see them there. I'm going to make them a little bit darker, but that as I go along. It's not right now. I'm just going to do it as I go along. Now this is a hard edge there, but look at the contrast. There's not much contrast, and if you want to keep something back where it's not much contrast, that's the way to do it. Keep it light. That way it'll still stand back. My favorite color are green and blue. Paula, green and blue? Oh boy. Well, green and blue together are good. Alright. Everybody's got their favorite color. That's like when I do my classes, I tell people, use the colors that you like. I mean, everybody's got their own choices of colors that they like better than others. And so why not use them? You know, use them in your painting because it makes you feel better. You want to use colors that you like. You know, I really believe in that a lot, because it's like when I have students ask me what colors should I use in that area, I go, it doesn't matter, as long as follow the values. Make sure you follow the values, know where that's supposed to be. Like, is it supposed to be forward, back? Is it the center of interest? You know, worry more about that than the exact color. The exact color doesn't have to be like the photograph. If you notice, I don't really ever follow a photograph color, and it just makes it so much nicer because then it'll be your color, the colors that you like. You make your painting enjoyable for you. Now there's a branch that goes all the way up and out here, so I'm going to put those out. See the main ones I was talking about? These are ones that are a little bit more important, these trees. And so I'm going to make them a little bit darker, make them a little bit more like they're coming a little bit farther forward. Put a couple branches on there, and they can come up into this, and this just bled. That just bleeds right in. Now I see there's another one right here, and this one's going to have to be a little bit lighter. Kind of bleed that in here, and then just put a little bit. This can be a hard edge as long as you don't make the contrast. Again, contrast makes things come forward. The more contrast, like when I get really dark up here, it's going to come popping forward. Especially when I put these plants in, it's just going to come way forward. This is going to stay back. Why? Because they're light, not much contrast, and some of these are soft edged. But most of them are hard edged, but they're still gonna kind of look soft edged because there's not much contrast. I put a few more branches. I mean, you can do tons of branches back here. I'm also wasting time here, so I'm waiting for this to dry. So I can put a lot of branches in here. I need to use my rigger brush. My rigger brush has always been a branch brush. Did I miss any questions of you guys are talking a lot here? Happy New Year, everybody. And for anybody who just joined us, we are not doing a resolution this year. We're just having fun. No resolutions. Don't have any resolution. Just come here on Thursday and paint with me and have some fun. Don't worry about, getting better. You're going to get better. The more you do, you're going to get better anyways. So just come here and have some fun. So you're going to just do a bunch of little branches. And then I'm going to be down. I'm leaving tomorrow morning for Florida. So I'll hopefully get the newsletter in by next Tuesday, because on this Sunday, I'm going to be in the villages in Florida and doing a Dillman's festival where I do 2 demonstrations like I'm doing now. One in acrylic and one in watercolor. And I don't know if you know the artist Karen Knutson. She's also going to be down there. I'm going to be with Karen Knutson, and she's going to be doing her in the middle. I'll do my watercolor, then she does hers, and then I do my acrylic after her. So that's going to be kind of fun. And so I think I've, is this area dry? Yeah, so, normally I don't do but what I'm doing is I'm working from back to front. And so what I'm going to do now is, I know these are usually really dark in front here. I'm putting these little branches, which I didn't do here at all. See, I didn't put branches in up here, but I think it's kind of nice to have those branches in there. So I'm going to make that pretty dark, though. I'm going to make them really dark, actually. And so I'm using a blue and a purple. And blue and a purple makes like a darker purple, bluish purple. And so I'm using that instead of green. So that's going to be my green, is a gray, gray blue. I can put a little bit of green. I can put a little bit of quinacridone gold in there to make it slightly green, but it's more like an army green. And put branches in here. Alright, a couple of little branches. And I'm only doing this right now because this still has to dry down here, and so I'm just wasting time basically is by putting these in. But I know I'm going to put them in later on anyways, and they're already drawn there. So while this is dry up here, I might as well just put them in. So there's not really an exact science of exactly what you have to do here and there. Definitely light to dark, but like this is already done, the background, so I'm just going to put these in right now. So it doesn't matter if it's dry already, why not put them in now too? It really doesn't matter. Alright, there's a couple of little branches hanging on the side. Now we got to get, let's see, this is all dry. I'm not going to take the masking fluid off until we get a lot of darks in there. And so now we're going to go from here and get darker and just make this all dark. Nice and dark. Look at that value study right here. Look at the value study. That is super, super dark. And I don't have to go as dark as I definitely have to get darker than this. See how this is all broken up? This is really more light than it is dark. And this composition would look better if this is dark in the foreground and then light in the background. So that's what I missed in that painting. I'm not going to miss that here. We're going to go in there right away with the dark. And it doesn't have to be as dark as black. I don't have to go with this color right here, black. That's a black and white photo. I can go with a darker purple. I can go in here and then just, let's see, take this brush. And I can make a green out of the purple. My green actually makes it brown. And so I'm going to go in here and just let some of that bleed up. And by making this not as colorful a dark, also will make my colors pop forward. They'll make it look really nice and colorful. And I'm going to negative paint around some of these branches, or these palm. I guess I made it a palm branch because this is the jungle somewhere. Maybe it is Cambodia, like Tabassum said. Maybe it's that. I don't know. I got it again on Unsplash, and so it's out of unsplash.com. where you get your royalty-free images. So we're going to take this, bring it down. make some soft edges. So making soft edges, we talked about that last week, right? When we just kind of go over. And I didn't use my kneader rubber eraser like in my newsletter. I don't know if you got my newsletter about the kneader rubber eraser. That thing works really well if you roll it over it. And I didn't do that because I already had done it, and so it doesn't need to be done. But if you want to know what that's about, check out my newsletter. Here we're going to go in here and I'm going to paint this a little bit. Use a little bit of warm colors. Remember I said cool colors, didn't I? So it's going to have to be a purpley bluish green. So you have to make this more cool down here. I know if you want to make it super jungle-like, you know, where, oh, I just went into my, the soft edge. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. See, I'm going to make that soft edge because I don't want to, I want to keep the mist. That's important to me, that I keep the mist this time. If you want to make it look like a super green jungle, like this is all that green, that's fine. But then you got to throw out, remember that everything should be like that. Then your dark should be like that. And I'm just not making it that this time. So I'm not going to make it as like a green, lush green forest or jungle. It's basically more of the dark purple, yellow, oranges. Here, put a little bit more orange in here. It's fall in the jungle. You know, I'm my own Mother Nature. I just do whatever I want with them. I'm creating my own thing. So you're allowed to do that. Just create your own nature. If you want to make it, you know, orangey in a jungle, go ahead. It's up to you. It's your painting. So that's pretty much my darks over here. And so we get a little bit darker. I could have got a little bit darker in this area. I'm trying to find the value sketch. I'm trying to follow this value sketch right here this time. And that way it'll bring it forward. And I may have to make this a little bit darker up here later, but we'll see how far this dries. Now I put the masking fluid here, and so look at this nice soft edge I got in there now. Doesn't it look like misty? Isn't that great? All right, so now we're right here, and we can go into our jungle plant, our big jungle plants here. And so we're going to make it a nice dark and stick with the same values, same colors. And make it a little bit more red. Resolve to work harder this year than previous year and tell the others to have fun. Here. So see, I'm just gonna, and I'm not just gonna make it one value, one color. Here I made it green, and I will put some green in there, a little bit like a earthy green, more of a purpley brownish green, and nice and dark in some spots, and some spots it's a little bit brighter. And actually, I'm gonna make some parts of those things yellow and orange because that's what most of this color is right here. So I stick with the same colors. I try to go with those colors and stick with them. You can always put any color into this area. You know, you just look for the values for one. That's number one. Values are number one. You need to have the right value. That's what I lost in that first one. I lost the value pattern, and that's so important in watercolor. You need to have the value pattern. And there's a lot of different teachers that teach it in different ways, but in all, they always talk about the value pattern. You know, it's one of those big things that we all say differently, but it's all basically meaning the same thing. Don't lose your value pattern. The value pattern is everything about the lights and darks, and so you need that. And there we got some worms, and I said it was going to be cool, but and that's the background one, so I'm going to still get in there pretty dark. And these have to be my darkest darks here, too. So I'm going to just give nice brush strokes. Nice brush strokes with your brush. If you ever want to practice something, practice making leaves. Like take a sheet of paper. Here, I'll use my little paper here. And then with your brush, making leaves sometimes is really fun. You just go in here and you push down your brush and you pull. So see how I just push and I pull? Sometimes you can make different leaves, different shaped leaves. It may be really round, so you just press down and then pull it upwards. You know, learn how to use your brush and make different kinds of brush strokes. And sometimes they look like leaves, like the ones we're doing here now. So if you can go straight, you can go like this, straight, and then push down, pull back up. It could be that kind of leaf, or you can make it where you kind of tap it down and then pull it. So it's a little different kind of leaf. Leaves are kind of fun because you can do them in a brush stroke. You can go down thin and push, and then you just push again, push again, push again, and then maybe do a side here. So it depends on what kind of leaf it is, of course. You know, I mean, if you want like a maple leaf, maybe there's more of a like thing like that. But learn how to do leaves and brush strokes with your brush. I mean, your brush almost looks like a leaf because it comes to a fine point. And so you just either you go thin to thick, push down and pull it back up, or you can go thick, and then pull it up for a thinness. You know, so practice leaves. It's a really good thing to do. These just happen to be like a big plant leaf, but they still are leaves. They're, you know, more jungle-like, but they're still leaves. And then I'm going to put some orange and yellow in there, just on the side where it's anywhere that it's showing a light. You can make some of these, and that's kind of, I left some of this masquerade on there so I can make them pop with a really bright white and yellow that I'll put in there later. I know some of you are going to like the green one first that I did. That's fine, you know, but everybody's got to like their own stuff. You got to like your stuff that you do, and, you know, be hard on yourself in that case. You know, don't, you know, just try to do what you want. And if you do something that, like I did this afternoon, you don't like, just try it again. You know, try it again and see what you can do. I mean, I can live with that painting and it's fine and everything, but I wanted to do, in my mind, I had something different kind of in my mind that I was going to do with it. But so sometimes you just don't get what you want, and so you try it again. So here we're going to go with like a really dark now. We're going to go with pure purple. I'm going to go purple here, dark blue, maybe with a little bit of cracked gold. Makes me like a really dark brown. I'll put that right here. And there's a leaf right here. Practice those leaves. It's a fun thing to do. It's better than doodling. Like a lot of times when you doodle something. Doodle something, like take your brush and try to get a different look. Yeah. What can you do with the brush that you couldn't do before? You know, try different things. I'm going to make this all a little darker in here, and then negative paint the foreground colors. Go right into this branch, right into the side of this branch right here. Any questions? Cambodia is still a challenge. Okay. Let's see, I got here. Alright, now you put a little branch right here. And negative paint these areas here. This is going to be light, like this area right there is light. But I'm just trying to make this come forward, and by making these hard-edged and come forward, that doesn't mean you can't put other colors in here though and let things float. You know what I mean? Floating, you gotta float that pigment in there. Even once you got an area, you can always go in there and then put a little bit of color in that area that's where you're floating the pigment. I'm gonna do a little bit of brushwork here to make it look like a negative painting. Negative painting is when you're painting around an object to create the object. You're not actually doing the object itself, you're painting around it, and you're hoping the color that's behind it will be, the first color you put will be the color of the actual object, like that. That's the front of that object, and I painted around it to create that leaf, that little fern or whatever that is over there. Over here, make it nice and dark. Here I'm going to put some rocks. I didn't have as many rocks in the picture. I decided to put some rocks here. And remember we did rocks where we do the side, and the top is always light. And then of course down here is the water. And the water, where it's lit up right down to the middle here, is going to be light. And then over here, we're just going to have this darks in the water, because water doesn't have color. It's, you know, especially here where I'm sure it's really beautiful and pure. So you just use the color that's above it. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spray this area. Actually, I'm going to wet that because I don't want to spray the whole thing. One thing about that mister is when you spray a big area. So what you could do is you could cover up that area and just spray in that area. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take clear water, take my clear water cup, and just put a little bit of water right here where I want it to still be soft edge. I want that glow, that mistiness happening right there. And then I'm going to use this dark purplish color here in the water to create the darks in here. Just still get the mist. I still want the mist in there. And then I'm going to make these waves. I'm going to make the waves go back and forth. The water, when I do water, I always go back and forth horizontally. And then there is some orange up there. It's going to also be in there, right? I mean, you don't have, that orange is going to reflect in there, right? So you're going to put that in there too. And once it's wet, you just float it in there. Get your soft edges. Remember, that's how you get your soft edges anyways, is wet in the wet. And so then I'm going to just put these little waves, little back and forth waves, horizontal lines. And this I want it to be really dark like that violet then too. I'm going to get it pretty dark down here. Because and then also by making this dark down here, it creates the shape of this pier or boardwalk or whatever it is. And so over here we'll do the same thing. This is underneath the pier. I'm going to make that, and then just make little waves here. And if you want, later on, I will take some opaque white and mix it with some colors from above, like the pinks and stuff. And I will do little ripples and little dots and stuff for the churning of the water, because there's a lot of white little bubbles in there and stuff. And I don't try to do that with the initial wash like I'm doing now. That's too hard. I mean, you don't want to do that. It's just too much. And just take a little bit of white paint afterwards and then just put it on there afterwards. It's so much easier. Here I put a little bit of waves. Go right through this guy's legs, because these people are going to have dark legs. You know, they're going to have dark jeans on. I'm just going to make it dark. On top here, I'll make it a little bit darker because the background's lighter. So I'll make, pretty much they're all going to be kind of silhouetted. So I should just say that. They're all going to be kind of silhouetted there. So then we got the mist. Look at the mist. And isn't that great, the mist? I really missed it. I missed the mist. Let's have another drink. Cheers, everybody, to my sugar sweet drink. Wow, that is the weirdest beer I've ever had. That is weird. It actually tastes like a sugar cookie. You know, I'm not sure if that's a good thing. All right, so now we're going to go in here and do the rest of this tree. Get my smaller brush. And put that in there real quick. How much time do we have here? Oh, well, we still got plenty of time. So we're going to go in here. This is, yeah, the boardwalk now is just all right there. Here's a little branch of this tree that fell down. I was debating on a lot of us were debating if we should put that tree even into the scene. But it was kind of, we decided that we had all these verticals, up and down, up and down, up and down. We had no horizontal things going on. So this is actually good that we have some horizontal things. You know, like the crucifix type of thing. You know, it's the kind of composition. And so that's a good thing. So I'm glad we kept it in there. And so we'll put a little bit of color in the branch. Once it's wet, you always put some color in there. A little orange. Put a little orange in there. And make a couple little plants coming off of here. I still have masking fluid that's on there. So I have to take that off. And that'll be white of the paper. And so that'll be kind of give it a nice look too. And so is this dark enough over there? I'm not sure if that's dark enough now. Squint my eye. Squint your eye when you want to look for values. And it's still pretty bright here. I mean, it's still pretty light. Does it read? Let me see. Let me just make it a little bit darker here maybe. If it looks good in your value study, and I don't have a value study per se, but I have this photo right here is my value study. So if that looks good the way it is, then follow those values. You know, the tree branches here are a little bit darker, and so I'll go back in there and make those things a little bit darker. Because if it's good there, it will look good when you do it down here in your painting. Like if everything is like high key there, then that's good too. I mean, you don't have to make everything exactly the same value, but in relation to each other, that's what it has to be. It has to look like that in relation. So if this is a little bit less, then that can be a little bit less too. And so that'll be really bright, and that's lighter than this area. So you got to keep everything in regulation to whatever everything else in the painting is. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So you don't have to go with black, but you have to go with the right value for that area in comparison to what else is in the painting. Very important. Very, very, very important, the values. I keep on saying it, but I can't tell you how important it is. It's very important. So here now I notice that those are really dark and not much color, and so does it look good with that just no color, or do I put some color in there too? No, I think I got to keep it for here. I got to keep the color in my center of interest area over here. I do have to make this darker up here and more textury, so that it doesn't look like it comes down forward a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the branches, and I'm going to spray it with the sprayer because I want to have soft edged, and so I'm going to mist it here up here. Put a little mist, and then I'm going to mist some of this these branches up here, because it's darker in my value study, and it does relate to this area here, so I just have to make it a little bit darker. And so by making just slightly darker can help it out a lot. It'll help out a lot of this area. And like in the photograph, there's a lot going on right here. And so to do that, you know, do it. Just do a lot of little lines, a lot of branches. You can never really put enough branches in sometimes. You know, you can always put, people ask me, he's like, oh, do you have enough branches? And not really, because, I mean, look how many branches are in that scene. It's just like millions. And so you determine how detailed your painting is. And then that determines how many of those branches you got to put in. A lot of people like Andy Evenson, what they do is the whole area, they may be a lot of branches, but they'll just make it, you know, solid. And so that's good too. You know, it all depends on what your style is like. We're going to go in here. Make a couple of the trunks go all the way up and out of the picture. A couple of little branches like that's a little bit higher up and a little bit more detail in there. Little leaves. All right, I'm really enjoying that I did this time. I missed it totally last time, the softness of that, and so I'm really happy with that. We're going to put a little bit of negative painting in there, just to look like there is something inside the softness. There is some branches growing through there. I'm going to make this a little bit darker so that when I take the mask white off, it'll kind of pop. Put a little branches back here, or ferns. I can make little ferns back here. I do want to keep that soft edge though. And I look at it, I do want to keep the soft edge, so just put some water in there, soften it up a little bit. I go right over their heads and stuff. I'm going to make them darker so they'll be silhouetted, so that's cool. Alright. Let's put a little bit of lighting on them now, or I'm going to put a little shadow on the actual dock here, or whatever this is, pier. Put a little shadow of them, like the sun's coming from back there, coming down, and just kind of coming from forward. So that's more of a it's a shadow and reflection, that one, because it is kind of like blocking the sun, and so it's like a shadow, but it could also look like a reflection too, like it's wet, the pier. Now we're gonna go right into them. Actually, a little bit more texture here. Can you tell I'm stalling a little bit? We're going pretty fast here. So we're just going to get into the people here now. Any questions? Sounds like you are being generous with your 8 brushes. What is the lowest rating you have? One of the lowest rating for the beer. The lowest rating, I think, boy, that was a real bitter one, and I think I gave it like a 7. So far the 7's been the lowest. I mean, to be like a lower than 7, it's got to be pretty bad. But also to be really good. Like last week we had an 11. That was actually really good. I forgot, it was at the holiday beer. That was a really good beer. All right, so let's get a few more things in here. Yeah, I'm pretty generous with the rating of the beer, but this one is. It's not bad. It's just I was so not expecting my sugar cookie in my beer. So if you like a sweet beer that tastes like a sugar cookie, then that's the beer for you, boy. It's just that it's not a bad beer. It's just not one it's like the green in here. I don't mind green, but it's not my favorite. You know, it's not my favorite. But it doesn't make it a bad beer. It just makes it a different kind of beer. It's like this beer is like my green. How I feel about green. You missed how I did the leaves. Did you load your brush with 2 colors or float it? No. When are you talking about this? When I did these leaves, there you just load your brush up with the color that you want to do the leaf and make it nice and wet. And here's a smaller brush. And you just pull it down like this and then just push and pull. And you can also do a double. So that was. And then you can also again go into it afterwards and then put other colors in there. Yes, you can do that later. But I always just go with one brush stroke. Try to get things with one brush stroke. That's always the best. So let's go in here and do our people now. And so when I do people, when I put a person into a scene, I don't try to make it so different, the values, and I try to make them come together as one big wash, almost like the leaves. So I'll start with her hair, and of course you know which color I want to make her hair is red because of how much I like red hair. And so we're gonna do that and put it in, and then right away into his head, and I'm just gonna go down, make it dark, and then of course when it's wet, you know how I am. I always will put other colors in there, and I do that as I go along. And since they're silhouetted in front of it, if you make it look like they're part of the scene, that's good. And then I can go in there and do, let's say I want to put a really bright red. I'll do that after I get, like here, if I put a bright orange, let's say he's got an orange, let's get an orange top on or something, or a coat or a shirt, and I can do that. And so, but it has to match something else, because if it's so weird and like super odd, like it's a bright blue, you know, and there's no blue anywhere else, then you're gonna have to put that blue somewhere else. Like with his jeans, I'm just gonna make them really dark. I'll make let's say he's got dark jeans on, and so I'll just make it a dark blue. But it's almost void of color in the fact that it's so dark it's almost black, and so that you can tell it's a little blue. And then right away I'm just going to put it right into her because I don't want it to separate so much. I want the wash to come together as one wash, and then I can go back in there and separate them a little bit, like, you know, the arm, I can put a little twitch there or something, or a little shadow there. But you want them to look like one whole piece and not parts of the body. You know, too many people, what they do is when you're doing people, they do the leg and they do the other leg, and they make sure you can see the belt, and no, there is one whole unit of dark, and that's what you want first and foremost, and then you can get in details like maybe he's got a striped shirt on or something like that, but not until you get the right form. You get the form and the right values in that area, and try to make it as a one-shot deal, like when you're doing the leaves, or when you're doing anything that's one shot. Like this is one shot, right? You get it done and you leave it. Same thing with the people. I do it as a big area. Then when it's dry, if I feel like I need to put detail, like really fine detail, like maybe, like I said, the stripes on his shirt, or maybe she's got a purse on or something, you can do that afterwards. Don't do it right from the get-go and try to make things separate. Making everything separate then makes it look, that doesn't feel like it's part of the picture. Here now, it looks like it's all together. Like when I painted it, it makes it look simple. Like I went right in there, just did a big wash, and it all fell together. And that's what it is. That's what I did. And then what I'll do is I will get the detail afterwards. Always detail afterwards. Big to small, big to small, big to small. And so let's see, we're going to do a little bit here, shadowing underneath here. I missed how, okay. Little reflections here again. Now these trees in here, what I can also do is I can make those trees like they're reflecting into the water. It's just a little trick. You probably don't even see that in the actual picture, but it's one of those tricks. If you see something above the water, you can put like a little bit of a reflection into the water just to give it that look. Like it's running water, but it's moving. But you're still, water is like a mirror. It reflects what's above it. So don't be afraid of reflecting stuff that's up there. You know, and I'm just doing it sideways like this. Now I'm going to put these lines into the actual pier itself. And bringing these lines across. I'm using a flat brush on its side to make these lines instead of a pointy brush. Instead of a pointy brush, I'm using a flat brush. That is, but when you turn it sideways, look at how thin that line is when I turn it sideways. This is a flat brush, a 1/4 inch flat. But when I turn it sideways, see how flat it gets, how thin it gets? And if I use it on the side, I can do great lines, and it holds more pigment than a pointer-like line. So that's why I like to use those kind of brushes for when I'm doing lines, is the flat brushes. Now here, a couple little darks over here. And I'm still waiting for them to dry a little bit so that I can put a little bit of detail in her hair, maybe on her face, a little shadow underneath here maybe. Just to separate them a little bit, because like I said, you first do the whole wash as one, and I know they're not in the scene, so if you do want to put people in, I just felt like this one needed people. When I looked at this one, I felt like it's okay the way it is. It's like the scene is and stuff. But I thought, you know, it'd be kind of neat to put people right there. And this is a center of interest, but how interesting is a branch to this fallen? And you can make it interesting, more interesting. It's okay, but I just felt it needed some people. I always find when putting people into pictures, it gives it more life. But then yeah, that's me. You don't have to. Like I said, you don't have to do that. But if you do, maybe look up on the internet, look up a picture, you know, in the images, Google Images, look up couple or dog. Maybe you want a dog there. Maybe a lady walking a dog or a guy walking a dog. You can do that too. Whatever you'd like, you know, and then draw them in there to the right dimension. Basically, you got to kind of figure out what you know. This is a dock, so you're figuring they're about that tall. I just went by, you know, what I thought was going to be a good size. Anything else? Let me see. Ask me a couple questions before we get done here, guys. And maybe what I'm going to do is I like the look of this over here, where it looks like it's spattered. Let me just show you this really close up. Let me show you this. This is what happens when you do a, let me just unlock this. So when you're doing something like this, take a look at this. So if you're looking at this, see how there's like, it looks like it's almost pixelated? And this is what Photoshop does. This is a filter called Watercolor Filter. And you put a filter on a picture. And I put this picture into Photoshop and used the image. But see all this stuff right here? This little lights and darks in through here? It almost looks like spattered. And so I may even spatter this painting a little bit back up here, but wet it first and make like a little bit of spatter up there. Give it a little bit of texture. You know, I kind of like the texture. Now, see, I know this is really black, basically because it's black and white. That doesn't mean you have to paint it black, but I do like the contrast in here, how this light is shining through. So I could have gotten a little bit more light through there, but you know, I think it's fine with what I have. I kept everything to the same kind of darkness. I didn't want to go with black, though some artists would have done that. They would have taken this and made it really, really dark like that, and then just add a little bit of color. So it's up to you. Again, up to you what you want to do. All right, so let me just finish this off by the people here, and we'll be done for another one. And then, so again, next week we will be in Florida, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a Florida scene per se, but we'll see what we're going to paint next week. I forgot who it was that showed me. I still want to do the masks of I forgot who it was that showed me the masks of Italy, like in Venice. They have those masks, and so I want to do one of those, the carnival masks and stuff. I thought that was kind of neat. So I'm looking for a really good carnival mask. If you know of a good carnival mask, like in Venice, you know, they have those masks and stuff. We're gonna try to do one of those. So that's coming up. One of the things we're painting. I'm always trying to think of different things, and you guys have given me a lot of great ideas. I just have to come up with the pictures sometimes. All right. Let's see. I'm just gonna a little bit darken them, and I think they're almost done, guys. If you got, oh, I was gonna show you how to spray. I'm gonna put a little spatter in there. So what I'm gonna do is this area right here. I'm gonna spatter with a dark, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a paper towel, and I'm gonna place it in an area where I don't want it to spatter. So I'm just going to go right here. I don't want it to spatter right here and here. So anytime you don't want something to spatter, and I also have to take my masking fluid off, but I'm going to spatter this area right here. So I'm going to take my brush, my round brush, and I'm going to get a pretty dark purple. Like I want to kind of have it in that kind of area, that kind of color. A lot of water, and I'm going to test it first. Test it on a different sheet of paper first, just so you know, and might as well test it on here. And so that's what I'm going to kind of get. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I just want a couple little dots. If you go straight down with your brush and just tap it like this, straight down, then you get round ones. If you go from the side, you get little angled ones. I'm just going to take and do little dots, like they're little leaves left on the tree. And they will dry a lot lighter than like anything else with watercolor. Once it dries, it gets a little bit lighter. I'll take a little bit more of this purple, lavender. Spatter a little bit. Now let's see, is it okay that I spatter there and not there? Spatter into the darker, into the light a little bit, down here a little bit. Let's see how that looks. If you feel like there's too much in certain areas, just wipe it off right now. Just make it lighter. Make this a little bit lighter on the edges there. I do think I wanted this area now too, though, because then it's going to have the same kind of look, the same kind of spatter. So up in that area, we can do the same thing. Same kind of colors. Just like the little leaves. Don't want to spatter it down there. Maybe in this area here, I want to spatter some orange. So again, put this right this. And there's a lot of foliage in here, so just by putting a few dots in here is going to make it just look more, you know, like there's a lot of stuff happening there. All right, take this out of the way. All right, last thing was take the masking fluid off. So I'm going to rub with my finger. There's a little masking fluid on there. Right there's a little masking fluid. Underneath here, on the top of the... And I use Stonehenge, and if you use the Holbein masking fluid, I found that it doesn't rip as much as some of the other masking fluids do. It's really a light masking fluid, really liquidy, so you don't have to put much on. And if you don't put a real lot on, it still covers the thing, and you can still go over it, but it's still going to give you the white. So I got to see the little shots there. That worked out pretty good. And now with them, the people, we're just going to put a little bit of darker color in there just to kind of identify what's happening there. So like right here underneath his arm. Maybe her hair is a little bit darker, or her shirt here is a little bit darker. So I'm negative painting his arm. And I can go right into her hair. There we go. See how I negative painted his arm out of the thing? And so, I did have a backpack on him at first, but that's too much, so I'm not going to worry about that. Here a little dark, and that's going to be about it. Let's give her some orange shoes. Yes, I can do whatever I want. Let's see. Here's the trees are fantastic. Thanks, David. Hey, Phil. Removing masking. Oh, thanks, Tina. Yep. I should have looked up. I know Tina would have found it. What does Ann have to say? I'm just catching the last few minutes. Oh, thanks, Ann. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. Let me just take the tape off, and I think we're pretty much done here, guys. So I'll show you the difference between this afternoon and this one. Again, they're different. It's just that, like I was talking about the green. I said enough about the green. I know a lot of you like green, and I think I should be using more green, but this one I like. I can tell you right now, I like this one much, much better. Let's get the tape off of here. Next Thursday, we'll be in Florida at the Villages, and I will be doing, I'm not sure what value or what painting yet, but we'll be doing something. And where's the other one? Oh, here it is. So both different, and both get their own little ideas, but see how this one with the values works a little bit better because this goes back, and this one is more about the color, and it does still have the darks and it does still come forward. It's okay. This one I find to be better. I just felt this one has more story. Again, you do what you want. You can do people. You don't have to do people. You can do whatever color you want. Follow the value pattern. And the drawing, of course, like always, is very important. So get a good drawing. Get a good drawing in your... and this drawing isn't too hard on this one. So basically, it's a bunch of leaves, trunks, and branches, and boardwalk. That's about it. If you do put the people in, make sure you get a nice look of the people in there, too. All right. So, with my sweet sugar cookie beer, I wish you a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next Thursday. All right, guys? Let me see if there's one more thing. Let's see. Purple and orange does look good. Need to try that color combination. Oh, yeah. Give it a shot, Paul. Thanks, Tina, for safe travels. I will